less freedom, more suffering. A poor man's life is really hard indeed. Think it over, my friend. Think it over. Carefully again. Do it again. Think it over. Don't vex with me.
Good night, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Good night to we starting the lovely. Good night to those lovely ladies on the other side.
Whichever one you have to adjust.
Good night to the lovely ladies on the other side, opposite me. Yeah.
I'm not hearing you. I'm hearing you, but not hearing you.
Which one is yours?
It's another night, another program, PSU Speak. And tonight we have a special program for you. Tonight we have been planning this program for a while. Well, I have been. And finally decided that given what has been happening, it's time to have the conversation on this very important topic. So the main discussion tonight is going to be around the right of Vincentians to protest. The right of Vincentians to protest. So we are going to look in depth at what the United Nations have to say about that. We're going to look at the Constitution, and hopefully it's not going to be done in one night, but hopefully we can impart some information so that the public, the workers, and all who are listening now and who would listen at some other time on our Facebook page would have an understanding and an appreciation for fundamental rights and freedoms. And those freedoms and rights are ones that we have to guard very closely and ensure that those are not eroded. So that's going to be the main topic tonight. But before we touch on that, I'm going to have the lovely ladies and bring you greetings, and then we're going to respond to some comments made by our Prime Minister regarding the COVID mandate. Is he really making sense? Or is he just talking for talking's sake? Is he being truthful about what he has said? Is it factual or is it not? So we're going to look at that before we actually start looking at the right to protest. So over to you, ladies.
Good night, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. It's always a pleasure for me to be here. I am your General Secretary, Shirley Ann Alexander Ross. Good night to all our workers, wherever you are. If you are listening in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, or if you are one of those persons who listen to us from the diaspora, welcome. Thank you for listening. I trust that you would have had a blessed and productive day. And as usual, we're really hoping that this program can be an interactive one. You let us know what is happening as it relates to the topic that we'll be presenting. So good night, and thank you again for being such a lovely audience.
Good night, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and all our listeners in the diaspora who are tuning in with us tonight. My name is Desrita Jiles Boucher, and I am the second Vice President of the Public Service Union. It is indeed a pleasure to be here once again, where we would be discussing a very important topic. And I'm encouraging everybody who is listening to feel free to call in and make this program a very interactive one. So, whatever is shared here tonight, may it bring a positive spill off in our society. And of course, to our members who are listening in,
You
please take
understand that?
notes and
No.
bear in mind that we are here to inform you of your rights. And with being informed and educated, you are able to represent yourself in addition to what the union does for you. So,
Conference,
thank you
please.
once again for tuning in with us tonight.
I thought you said there's that you have no.
It went outside. When it comes back, it's on my laptop.
Oh, right. Okay, so during during our last during our last press conference,
Thank you.
all right. So before we go any further, this Rita has
Oh, yes. Before we continue with our discussions, I would like to open us up with a scripture verse, and it is being taken from Proverbs chapter 31, verses 8 to 9. And it says, "Open your mouth for the mute, for the rights of all who are destitute. Open your mouth, judge righteously, defend the rights of the poor and needy." And also, I would like to quote a labor quote from the memorable Martin Luther King Jr., and it says, "Our lives begin to end the day that we become silent about things that matter." So, those two statements, bear in mind as we have our discussions tonight.
okay. So the last time we had our press conference, and the last time when we were on the program, we actually mentioned it also. We stated that the government in 2020 made a declaration through the Minister of Health, declared a public health emergency. And we stated that at that press conference, we stated that we are still under the public health emergency, even though the World Health Organization have indicated and have notified the world that the world is no longer under a pandemic. But in St. Vincent, we stated that we are still under a public health emergency. When we stated that, we also stated that the vaccine mandate, some aspect of it was done away with, but the mandate is still in place for health workers. So the Prime Minister, I understand, in responding to a question posed by a journalist regarding what we would have said, made the statement, and this is according to what's the newspaper name? This is according to One News. St. Vincent, is it One News?
When you say
As you news the online paper?
one of them.
Yeah.
One second.
Let me make
Go
sure
ahead, Pat. Yeah.
I let me make sure I get the
Name
paper
right.
in which that was stated. But the statement The news item goes like this. Oh, the St. Vincent Times. So it's according to the St. Vincent Times, June 4th.
There's also a one news. But
It's right, that's
go ahead.
right. But this one was from the St. Vincent Times. According to Prime Minister Gonsalves, there is no COVID-19 public health emergency in effect in St. Vincent. I don't know what that actually means. Okay, does not mean in effect means it isn't still, the law has been revoked. But that's what he said. He stated that somebody said to him that one or two people on a sporadic basis or some senior official somewhere will say to somebody they have to bring proof of vaccination or a COVID vaccine card. I asked the cabinet secretary, who is the head of the public service, that's what Dr. Gonsalves said. I asked, his words, is this happening? She said, no, not in any general way. I guess I don't know what that not in a general way means. But she understands too that there might be an odd person who may ask. He continued, I don't know who gave that odd person, the authority. I don't know where they got that authority from. Gonsalves said he advised the cabinet secretary to write departments indicating that the country has long passed that stage. I advised her to write somebody, heads of departments, permanent secretaries, and the like, to tell them that this is not required because we have gone past that a long time ago, Gonsalves said. So I don't know if that is the manner in which a public health emergency that was declared is cancelled, is no longer in effect legally. I don't know. Section 43 of the Public Health Act, when it was amended, this is what took place, and I think that was in 2020. Public health emergency, and this is according to the Act itself, means an extraordinary event which is determined to constitute a public health risk to St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and which potentially requires a coordinated response in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Section 43B1, Declaration of Emergency. Where the Chief Medical Officer believes a public health emergency exists in St. Vincent and the Grenadines and believes that the public health emergency cannot be mitigated or remedied without the implementation of special health measures under this section, the Chief Medical Officer shall recommend to the Minister that a public health emergency be declared for all parts of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and the Minister may, by notice, declare a public health emergency for all parts of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Now, a public health emergency was declared by the Honorable Minister of Health. Where the Chief Medical Officer determines that a public health emergency has ended, the Chief Medical Officer shall advise the Minister, and the Minister may, by notice,